I decided to do the fishbowl activity from our packet, and I picked 8th grade, The Giver, which is a dystopian futuristic novel that students usually read in 8th grade. And what the fishbowl is you set your chairs up like this, and just pretend that they're like desks here. And this would be the inner circle, and it would be like a complete circle, but we don't have enough chairs. So there would be like a desk, inner circle, desk, and then this is the outer circle, which makes a complete circle. And you'll set it up like that, and then you'll have 2 groups. The first group will be the inner circle, and then they will switch halfway through. And how it works is you assign a reading, or you could discuss an entire book. It's up to you. What I decided to do is to kind of discuss the book as a whole with an emphasis on the last 2 chapters. I believe it has 24, 25 total chapters. And when I was looking up how to do these, they said that they really take a lot of practice. So I thought this would be like a good starter one, just to kind of get an overview, because I think it's easier to talk about the book as a whole instead of like a much smaller section. So what I decided to do is I put up a couple of discussion generators in case they get stuck. I wrote out a character list and then a few like themes and symbols, and what I would do is before we did this fishbowl activity, I would talk about these in greater detail with them, just so they would have like a starting place of where to go. So like, for example, the day before or in the week before, we would talk about like the importance of memory and why it's in the book in relation to each of the characters, so that they'll be able to like lead the discussion more as a starting point. So the teacher actually doesn't have much say in this unless it's the first one. So what you'll do is you'll set them up, the inner circle and the outer circle, and the inner circle will debate the reading, and that can be the whole book or like a smaller section or whatever you want to do. And then you'll set a timer. Again, like depends on the teacher, how much time they want to put in. I would say maybe 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how big of a chunk. I was going to go with 6 minutes for this one, and then I would explain it and tell them, here's a list in case you get stuck of things to go over, and what they do is they just debate with each other. Someone can start, someone can jump in, and then they just talk about the book. The inner circle and the outer circle listens, they take notes, they jot down things that they might want to add when they get in the inner circle. And for the first session, the teacher might want to jump in if they get stuck, because sometimes they'll run out of things to say, especially in 8th grade when they haven't done a lot of analyzing and close reading yet. So somebody could bring up a scene, and I could say, okay, well, how does that relate to Asher? Or what does that have to do with the chief elder in relation to whatever symbol it is, or something like that. And I can also remind them, well, you know, check the list of themes, and I would add more as they came up. And then once the time is up, the circles will switch. And then the inner circle will go to the outer circle, and they will listen and take notes and do the same thing. And at the end, there's a debrief time, and the teacher kind of leads that the first session, but after that it's more student-led, and they can critique and say, I thought it was a good point when so-and-so said this, or I thought it was really interesting that so-and-so brought up this symbol, I didn't think of it that way before. And then they can kind of talk among themselves. And then a thing that I would like to do at the end is just to brainstorm on the board with the whole class ideas of like pretty much like a pro and con, like this went well, this didn't, maybe we could focus more on this next time, maybe we needed more time on the characters or more time on symbols. And you can grade this however you want. For my purposes, I would kind of just like jot down some notes of who's participating, who's not, and some people are going to be much shyer. It's kind of hard to jump in sometimes, especially the first time. But if there's somebody that's just completely like lacking involvement, not paying attention, I would write that down and maybe say something at the end. My lab at Causey, she actually did this, and at the end she would call people out. She would say, you know, so-and-so didn't participate, or you need to get more involved, and I don't really agree with calling them out in front of the whole class, because I feel like that kind of, it makes them hold back even more. So I would come up with a different way of doing that. But that's what you do. You just inner circle, outer circle, you switch, and then you have a debriefing, and it gets better with practice. There's going to be some confusion at first, especially like with the rearranging of the room, but once they're more accustomed to it, it'll go smoother. And I think it would be a good idea to have one of these every once in a while. In my own class, I would like to have one maybe on like a certain chapter when they get better at close reading, or a certain short story or poem that has a lot of imagery or symbols. Just to give them a break from me talking and activities, and I would like to have some more discussion that they can lead among themselves. So that's what it is. I focus this one on more of the giver as a whole, but it can definitely be on smaller sections. That's it.